Hello and welcome to what I think is the worst car in Real Racing 3. This is the Lamborghini Veneno. If you want to buy it, it will cost you 900 gold, but that is not the big shocker and the big reason why I list this as the worst. To fully upgrade, 2,105 gold and 6,831,400 R dollars. That is the highest R dollar upgrade cost of any car in the game and second highest gold. So look at these specs. They look okay. Let's bring down the McLaren 720S Coupe. It has lower specs across the board and lower PR. So let's get into this McLaren because we're going to do a comparison. To buy this car would be 650 gold, which that sounds more reasonable. But let's get into the full upgrade costs. 1,225 gold and just shy of 1.6 million R dollars. That is a lot more reasonable. Okay, let's do a head-to-head. Here's my current Veneno time at Mount Panorama. Here's my current time and the McLaren at Mount Panorama. We are going to run these head-to-head. Like, of course, I can't run them head-to-head in a race, but here we go. So I'm going to beat my times. I'm already Group A. I'm going to get higher in Group A in both cars. This is going to be really good racing. I practiced. I was training. So far, it looks neck and neck. The longer the run with the Veneno, the more speed we build up. But here's where it gets really interesting, and that is the handling. The McLaren looks so good, but watch the Veneno time. You're going to see I keep building on that versus my Ghost. This corner right here, that is the hardest corner at Mount Panorama. Second hardest is coming up here, I'd say. Here's the difference. The 720S Coupe is full throttle till we get to the top. Now, this corner is very tricky to keep it full throttle. Here's where we're on the brakes, and this is where some of the difference happens. I would say the second hardest corner of Mount Panorama to master is this one right here. Those two corners I mentioned, if you master those two corners, you're very far on your way to a Group A time. Okay, coming down the back straight here, because I'm later to the throttle in the Veneno due to handling, it takes more time for that speed to build up. And that's just happening when we're having to get on the brakes. And then there's such a difference. The Veneno just feels like such a tank in comparison to the McLaren's nimble handling. And here we are getting to the end of the race, and you can see I did a lot better in that McLaren. Isn't that surprising? Okay, let's check this out here. Look at the differences. That's almost 2 full seconds. So there I was 523rd. Now I'm 68th. That's pretty good. I was 146th, and now I'm up to 34th. That's pretty incredible. Okay, we're going to go over to the Le Mans circuit, the full-length Le Mans circuit, not the Bugatti circuit. This should be a better place for the Veneno, where it can really find its stride. And this isn't going to be head-to-head. This is going to be a 2-lap race with me giving the competition a pretty big lead. We're going to bring down 2 other viewpoints yet, so don't you worry. So, like I'm saying, this is, you can look at it currently, most expensive R dollar upgrades for the entire game and second most expensive when it comes to gold. The only car that has more gold upgrades would be the Porsche 919 Hybrid Evo. The full upgrade costs of that car are pretty insane, 3,265 gold. In fact, the last engine upgrade, 1,310 gold. That's for one upgrade. So yeah, you wait a long time for a sale before you do that. It's one of the most incredible cars in the game though. It makes sense. It is such a legendary car because it was made with no rules. Definitely in my top 5 of cars for this game. Now, this car has been in the game for a long time now. Way back in Update 2, which was available on December 18th of 2013. So it was a pretty early car. It must have blown people's minds when they introduced it. I gave mine a gold paint job because, I mean, it better be solid gold for the price that I'm paying here. And yeah, so there you go. You can see it hits a pretty high speed down the first Mulsanne straight, heading to the first Mulsanne chicane. I'm actually going to keep this all on track, even though you think I'm not on track if you don't know this game very well. Everything I'm doing you could do in a time trial, and you would not get a penalty for this. And I mean, I got a long ways to go. This is 15-second deficit. I've only got 2 laps to get myself into the lead. And some of my friends are top racers. Like, some of these guys are incredible. So this won't necessarily be easy. Oh, I just went off track right there unintentionally. If you go back and look at that, you'll see that my speed dropped. So that actually hurt me. It did not help me. There are off-track cuts you could take here that would help you. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to push the boundaries, that's for sure. Like, I'm going to go way over there to make this corner wider, just like any real-life racer would do if he's allowed to. And in this game, I am allowed to. So then I will. You've got to push those boundaries. If you want to play this game like a real race car driver, real race car drivers push the boundaries as far as they can possibly be pushed. If they don't, they're fired. It's just that simple. And they push it so far that sometimes they get a penalty. But that's just how it goes. You got to find those boundaries and push them. Drive on the razor edge. If they could drive on the grass without consequences, they would. My goodness, that was interesting. Okay, so I just got roughed up a little bit. I'm checking for damage. I'm okay. A little bit worried about that. Cracked windshield is the first indicator that you're going to be suffering. So this Veneno, it's going to be slippery going through the Porsche curves here. I'm a little bit worried. I actually did do quite a few attempts at this race. Like, I probably spent a couple of hours, well, yeah, maybe a couple of hours working on the handling, trying to figure out how do I make this car rotate. It just feels so heavy. And it just doesn't get better with speed. So, okay, let's go back to the comparison I was doing there with the 720S. That is one of the better handling cars in the game. It's very good at high speeds, but also the low speed grip. Like, the 720S is just good all around. Very enjoyable to drive, very rewarding. I would recommend that car. Here's the thing. The PR on that car was quite a lot lower than this car. Like, this car should have still beaten it, but it didn't. So, yeah. The main point of this video is, I would say, guys, do not waste your money on this car. Like, unless you have a goal of having every single car and you want every single car fully upgraded, gosh, I would just skip this car. Interesting side point about this car. Veneno actually means venom. That's where the word comes from. Veneno comes from venom. So that's interesting. If you get bit by this car and you need it, it's gonna cost you. You do need it in several series, so don't get me wrong. Advancing in the game, like, I believe you could still get through those series without owning this car, but I'll put a link in the description area where you could find everything about this car and all the series it appears in, so that's available to you. I will mention that it's in 4 different series, so that is quite a few. And when it comes to the exclusive series, this one's one of the highest paying in the entire game. Maybe it is the highest paying one. You get 300 gold for completing that exclusive series. So if you've got a lot of R dollars kicking around, I mean, if there's a sale, maybe. But I'm telling you that you're not missing anything. Nothing about this car. I do not find this car enjoyable to drive. I find other cars substantially more enjoyable to drive, such as, like we already saw, the McLaren 720S Coupe. The Lamborghini Huracan Performante is another one that is just incredible. That car shoots way above its PR rating. There's quite a few cars that are more enjoyable than this one to drive, and they're way cheaper to fully upgrade. So, but I mean, this one's a challenge. And here you're getting a chance to see it and why I consider it to be such a horrible car. Like, you compare this to the Formula One Valencia, which is only 273 gold to fully upgrade, and off of my memory, 770,000 some M dollars, 2 million M dollars to buy, and it will destroy many cars on the track, including this Veneno. But let's get back to the race. I'm finally challenging for the lead. Oh, clipping the walls. Don't want to do that in this car. This has been a hard run, actually. Finally, I'm getting the lead. This is a special car. When it first came out, it was $4 million American. There's only 13 in the world, 9 Roadsters, 4 Coupes, and they were made to celebrate Lamborghini's 50th year in the year 2013. So it is a special car. That would be why it's so expensive. Yikes. Earnings are popping up here right away. So, what do you think is the worst car in the game and why? What do you think is the best car in the game and why? Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed the video, and there's why I think it's the worst car in the game. Bye-bye now.